27 News, WKOW. Here's what's happening right now.
Tonight, shocking details.
Intentionally blew up this house.
Tonight, shocking details in the house explosion that rocked a Madison neighborhood. Police now saying a man shot and killed his wife before blowing up the house to cover it up. Plus, neighbors left stunned, but why a couple of them are angry after the latest developments. And why today is so special for Americans, especially if you consider yourself a patriot.
We've got you covered. This is 27 News at 10.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Hunter Sines. Jennifer is off. Tonight, there are startling new details in the explosion that leveled a home on the 7800 block of Stratton Way on Wednesday. Tonight, we've learned that the remains found in the rubble are that of 50-year-old Leanne Pyrus, and that her husband, Stephen Pyrus, is being held on a first-degree homicide charge. Police say the explosion was a cover-up.
And we stand here today convicted of the fact that Stephen Pyrus killed his wife and then attempted to cover it up.
New at 10, David Johnson joins us live and has you covered with how neighbors are coping with the chilling new details. David?
Hunter, an unexpected twist into the investigation in the explosion of this house behind me that leveled the house and shook this quiet Madison neighborhood. Now, police say that a man intentionally blew up this house to cover up the killing of his wife, something police say happened weeks or even months earlier.
It's kind of scary to think that the body was there for a little while before.
That's reaction from Judy Luciani after learning the news about her neighbor, Leanne Pyrus.
And then, of course, we all know about the explosion of the house.
Her body found in the rubble of this house on Stratton Way after an explosion leveled it.
The explosion that occurred Wednesday afternoon was intentional.
For me, the scary thing is my husband and dogs had just left and passed by the scene 15 to 20 minutes before it happened. And to think that they could have been right there at the stop sign when it impacted.
Now, her husband, Stephen Pyrus, is behind bars, charged with her murder.
Stephen Pyrus shot and killed Leanne.
What's more shocking are the details surrounding her death.
Leanne had been deceased as a result of being shot by her husband for weeks, if not months. Okay? Third, Leanne was in the house when the house exploded. And fourth, Stephen intentionally blew up this house.
Wouldn't you think someone from her family would have noticed she was sort of missing?
Luciani says she's sad about Leanne's death and shocked something like this could happen in her quiet neighborhood.
People just living their lives, enjoying their yards, enjoying walks. You know, we have the Ice Age Trail right next door, and, you know, a lot of people out walking, and, you know, seems like a good place to live.
Now, Luciani also says that she's angry that the explosion put people on this street in harm's way. Stephen Pyrus is currently being held in the Dane County Jail, and he'll be there until he goes before a judge. Koval says that he faces a minimum charges of first-degree intentional homicide, arson, and reckless endangerment. Reporting live from Stratton Way, David Johnson, 27 News.
Thanks, David. This investigation has moved quickly. We want to give you a timeline of what we've learned so far. On Wednesday, September 13th, the house exploded and it shut down South High Point Road, and neighbors nearby were evacuated as the investigation began. Then on Thursday, September 14th, those neighbors were allowed to return home, but on Friday morning, investigators pulled a body from the rubble. And then today, the Dane County Medical Examiner identifies the victim as 50-year-old Leanne Pyrus. Authorities say Leanne died from being shot before the explosion. Leanne's husband, Stephen Pyrus, is taken into custody, and police say Stephen blew up the home on purpose to cover up his wife's murder. And as we said, since the explosion, South High Point Road has been shut down to traffic between Raymond Road and McKee Road in order to give investigators space to work. The size of the investigation continues to shrink down, and the road is now back open in both directions. 27 News has had you covered on this investigation since the beginning, and will continue to bring you updates in our newscasts online and on our 27 News Now app.
Cooling off rather quick as we round out the weekend. Yesterday, searing hot in the upper 80s. Today, only nearing 70 for a high. So your live look at the Capitol is as such. Not any haze out there like what we saw this time last night. The flags are blowing still, and they're coming out of the north and northwest at around 5 miles per hour. Calm at the airport, though. 56 degrees. Temps won't stop there. We're a solid 20 to 25 degrees cooler right now. Compared to this time yesterday, everyone's sitting only in the low to mid-50s. Camp Douglas actually came up a couple degrees to an even 50 within the last hour. 56 in Madison, 55 in Janesville, 54 in Platteville. Everyone, though, I think will continue to slip, especially in outlying areas and low-lying spots. I think you'll be the coolest getting into the 40s, upper 40s, though, if you're in downtown Madison. So there you go. Temperatures will cool off rather fast. We'll call it partly cloudy overall. But coming up in that full 27 storm track forecast, we're discussing more rain chances. You can actually see it developing over the central plains in our little monitor back here. So we'll track that in greater detail and talk about a warming trend as well. All that in just a few minutes.
All right. Thank you, Max. In Madison, police are investigating a shooting on the 2700 block of Anderson Street after getting several reports last night of shots fired. Police say they recovered 6 shell casings from 2 different types of guns, several hundred feet apart. No damage or injuries were reported. One man is dead after a crash in Dodge County this morning. The Dodge County Sheriff's Office says the crash happened on State Highway 60 and Jefferson Road around 11:10 in the town of Rubicon. The driver of a Toyota SUV hit a Chevy SUV while driving in the wrong lane on Highway 60. The driver of the Chevy died at the scene. The passenger in that car was taken by Flight for Life to a nearby hospital with life-threatening injuries. The driver of the Toyota was taken to Hartford Hospital with minor injuries. The investigation into the cause of the crash is ongoing. In Oshkosh, UW police are investigating a string of sexual assaults, with the most recent report happening around 5 this morning. Campus police say the assaults are similar in nature and that the woman in this morning's attack was able to escape. Students on campus are nervous, though, after hearing about this latest attack.
I would just have to put myself and be like, oh, if this is me, I would really hope somebody would help me out, so I would have to be in that position and help them out. I would also immediately call 911.
Yeah, or I would say find a male or someone as a female. It's kind of intimidating you don't know what's going to happen if you're a bystander and you intervene. So, yeah, I would say either calling or just finding someone right away that can help.
Today's incident was the 3rd reported assault on campus recently. Police described the suspect as a thin white man with short dark hair driving a dark-colored Volvo or Saab. The U.S. Department of Justice stopped its review of the Milwaukee Police Department. That's because the federal agency is changing its program focused on improving trust between police and communities. The new program will focus on helping local law enforcement fight crime. A DOJ spokeswoman told the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel that cities like Milwaukee will be moved into the new version of the program. Well, this Tuesday marks an exciting day for some people here in Wisconsin. 50 new Americans will take their oath of citizenship at the state capitol building. The new citizens represent a number of different cultures and ethnicities coming from 25 different countries. A little history lesson for you today. On this day, 230 years ago, America's founders signed the U.S. Constitution. Trump addressed the nation, hoping Americans would use the day to reflect on its nation and its history.
So let us pledge allegiance to our flag, devote our hearts to our country, and demonstrate our love for one another as Americans, as patriots, and as the children of God.
The Constitution was signed 13 years after the United States signed its Declaration of Independence on July 4th, 1776. Paul Ryan also commemorated Constitution Day by releasing a statement saying in part, quote, "The United States is the oldest democracy in the world, and its endurance is a testament to our Constitution. It has endured the test of time." Governor Scott Walker will sign off on the incentive package for Foxconn tomorrow. The governor has a bill signing ceremony set for tomorrow afternoon at the Gateway Technical College in Sturtevant near Racine. The bill provides $3 billion in incentives for the Taiwanese tech giant to build a facility in southeast Wisconsin. Foxconn has promised to bring 13,000 jobs to Wisconsin. The Green Bay Packers currently in action, and Amy Gill joins us with an update.
The Packers, they're still battling the Falcons in Atlanta. Unfortunately, since it's still in progress, we cannot air any highlights, and unfortunately, the things are pretty much going Atlanta's way right now. The Packers are trailing big time to the Falcons. It was 34-10, but the Packers actually just scored a touchdown, so right now it's 34-16, waiting that, they actually went for a two-point conversion, and it failed. They are getting a little bit more offense going in the second half, but in the first half, they had just 100 yards at the half of total offense. Aaron Rodgers had an interception and a fumble returned for a touchdown in the game. We'll tell you much more about what's happening in this matchup coming up a little bit later in sports.
All right, thank you, Amy. The Willie Street Festival and Parade celebrating a milestone this year, how the community is celebrating. And people in Florida trying to return to normal after Irma hit last weekend. Why it's bound to be a tough road to recovery. Stay with us.